Hello everybody, welcome to Friday Night Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show, Game Week 13 preview, and it's a double game week. Whether they're proper double game weeks in Cloud or not is a moot point, but at least with the way we work transfers in phase one of the game, there is the option to use up to 10 transfers this week if you would so like. You can use 5 up until Monday night, and then another 5 between Tuesday and Thursday. We'll have a look at see the games as we go along. So we're going to have a look through my team, see how we got on this week. We're going to have a look at the league and some friendly names on the weekly leaderboard. More to come. And have a look at the match centres to see where these points came from during the week. Hopefully by then we'll have some team news on Brighton v Southampton, which is the first game up tonight. And spoiler alert, if a certain Brazilian is in the side, then he's going to be coming into my team. We'll have a look through the transfers. No surprise there was quite a few used last week. We'll go through some questions that we've had in. Thanks very much for sending those. Have a look at my plan, and then we'll go through some predictions for the week. So let's have a look. Evening, David, in the chat. Right, let's have a look here and see the team. So again, we have Muric in goal. 3 points, becoming standard. Always lets in goals, always makes some saves. At the back, we had a no-show from Romero. I've seen transfer news that he's probably not going to play this week either, but not a transfer out for me, I don't think, at the minute. Robinson had 3, Van Heck had 2, Van Dijk, he was brought in for me for McNeil on Sunday, got the 4, Palmer with 3, Saka captain on Saturday, 24 points, Dibbling 2, he had a good game but doesn't materialise into points. Bowen, who was brought in on Monday for Haaland, had 14. Salah, captain on Sunday with 28, a goal and a penalty, and a booking for taking his shirt off. And then Mbomo up front with the 4. And the 2 players to leave the side were Haaland and McNeil. So where does that leave me in the overall standings? So this is the overall leaderboard. Change at the top. Ben Parkin now number 1. He's got 1,145 points, 104 for the game week. Scott Bailey drops down, only 62, so he's in second place on 1,142. John Kerr in third on 1,138. And if we look a little bit further down into unlucky for some 13th place, is a certain James Linden with Ledley's Kings Sky FF. Maybe a change of name to Cloud FF there, James. He's got 1,102 points, and he had 131 for the week. Well done. So if we have a look at the weekly scores, so John Kerr, top of the shop, 137. Mark Berry, well done Mark, 132. James, well done, 131. We've got Peter Abelard on 128. Then another friendly name, Andrew Ferguson, Fergie Time, 127, well done. And then a little bit further down that board, you'll see is a Paul McNulty, 971 and 117 for the week. So, well done to all 3. Like to see some friendly people doing well, and let's hope it carries on. Right, let's have a look at the match centres and see where the points came from this week. Just move this back a week to game week 12. So the first game was Leicester against Chelsea, and it was Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. Point scorers, so we just go through the 3 triple point tiers, I think. So Christensen had the tier 3 for tackles for Leicester. Tackles for Chelsea was Fernandez. Passes, tier 3, Badiashile and Colwill. Tier 3 for Jackson in the shots. And then the goal scorers were Ayew, who scored the consolation penalty, and Jackson and Fernandez. Bournemouth 1, Brighton 2. So tier 3 for Adams in the tackles for Bournemouth. No tier 3s for Brighton. Goal scorers were Brooks. Blast from the past. He's recovered from his severe illness, if I remember right, David Brooks. He was a good player 3 or 4 years ago in the Bournemouth side that first came up. Good to see him doing well. He scored for Bournemouth. So for Brighton, Pedro and Matoma with the goals. And then we had Arsenal 3, Forest 0. So Gabriel and Saliba with tier 3 passes. They were the only ones. So Saka, Partey and Nwaneri were the goals for Arsenal. Aston Villa 2, Crystal Palace 2. So passes in the tier 3 for Villa were Torres, Carlos and Tielemans. For Palace in the tackles were Lacroix and Hughes, and Sarr with the shots. Goal scorers were Watkins and Barkley for Villa, and Sarr and Devaney for Palace. Everton 0, Brentford 0. Tier 3s for Gay with the tackles for Everton, and Flecken again with the save. So those that have been on Flecken finally gets a clean sheet, 12-pointer. Well done. Fulham 1, Wolves 4. So tier 3s for tackles for Lukic for Fulham, and passes for Bassi, and for Wolves, Gomez had a stormer there, didn't he? Tier 3 on the tackles. He also had tier 2 shots and scoring, had an assist, a 16-pointer. Well done. And for those that were on Cunha, David, sorry again, 17-pointer there for Cunha. Well done for those that went there. And then Manchester City 0, Spurs 4. Not sure anybody predicted this last week. I certainly didn't. So Gundogan was in tier 3 passes for City, and Spurs tier 3s for Vicario. But unfortunately he's injured now. We've got a question on this later on. He's had ankle surgery, so not going to be seen for many weeks, I imagine. And then the Sunday games were Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. McCarthy in the tier 3 saves with 8, even though it was his mistake that led to Salah's first goal. Liverpool, Robertson and Van Dijk and Gravenberch all in the passing tier 3s. Salah in the shots. He had a 14-pointer goal and a penalty and 4 shots on target. Ipswich 1, Manchester United 1. So tier 3s there for Onana with the saves, belting saves from Delap. And in the passes we had Delit and Mazraoui. And the goal scorers were Hutchinson and Rashford. Do apologise, didn't go through all of the goal scorers for Southampton, Liverpool. So the goal scorers for Southampton were Armstrong and Fernandez. And for Liverpool it was Szoboszlai and 2 from Salah. And then Monday night, where a few moves were made, it was Newcastle 0, West Ham 2. Tier 3s for Hall, as we'll see later. He's quietly doing well in all stats, really. But the goal scorers were Souček and Wan-Bissaka. Those that brought in Isak were disappointed. He only had a 2-pointer. Those brought in Bowen, he had shots tier and an assist for a 7-pointer. The other tier 3s for West Ham were Emerson, who got the assist, so he had a 13-pointer, clean sheet, assist and 6 tackles, and Paquetá with 7 tackles. So let's have a quick look on my phone, see if we've got some team news. Just having a quick look in the chat. So David, John and Michael are in. If anybody's got team news, they could drop it in. If not, I'm going to have a quick look on my phone now. See. So Brighton, so it looks like they're lining up. Verbruggen, says Lamptey. Lamptey, Van Heck, Igor Estupinan, Ayari, O'Reilly in the middle, Rutter, Pedro, Matoma and Welbeck up front. Southampton, Lumley in goal, no idea who that even is. Walker Peters and Sugawara are in the fullback position. Stevens, Downs and Harwood-Bellis listed here as centre-backs. Downs is normally a midfielder, I think. Armstrong, Manning, Fernandez and Dibbling, and Archer up front. Well, looking at that, I fancy Brighton. Those that got Lewis Dunk, no, he's not back. I'm fairly sure that De Zerbi said he was back in the squad, but he Lamptey as well over Verbruggen. That's a surprise, but okay. Sorry, over Verbruggen, over Veltman. Okay, so there we go. So let's have a look at the transfers. See if I can get rid of this that way. So these are transfers for last week. This is from the transfer planner. I've sort of adapted this. You'll have seen this screen before. I'll just a quick sip. So what I've done, I've filtered this on the biggest ins and outs for game week 12. And you'll see those listed in blue have had the most transfers in. So it was Salah, Isak and Bowen. So Salah had a 20% increase. So up from 39 to 59%. Isak up from 17 to 31, 14%. And Bowen up from 9 to 28%. So 19, nearly 20% increase there for Bowen. And for those that were on the out, so Haaland down from 80% to 55 now, so he's lost 25% of his ownership. Romero went from 51 down to 37, so he's lost 14%. And down at the bottom of the list here, Kovacic, he's obviously got the injury as well. He went down from 12% to 2%, so he lost 10% of his ownership there. And there's a few others as well that have some ups and downs. So Smith Rowe lost a couple, and Buemo lost 4. Gabriel brought in by 3. Gvardiol down by 3. So Van Heck up by 7. Solanke there down by 6. Bruno Fernandes up by nearly 7. Ollie Watkins down by 3. Konate up by 5. And disappointing news for those that went for Konate. He's now got an injury picked up against Real Madrid on Wednesday. He's going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. So we need to find somebody to fill that gap. So Lewis Hall went up by 7. He's at 2.7 million. So decent value in the game. Then we've got Chris Wood, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's obviously out for last week. Rico Lewis, Phil Foden and Buonanotte went down 4, 5, 2, 2 and 2. Then we had Kovacic at the bottom there. So if we have a look on ownership, thanks John. So Joe Lumley is a 29-year-old Premier League debut tonight for Southampton. Interesting to see how he goes. I doubt he's got a price in Cloud. We'll check on Telegraph to see if he has. Minimum pricing is going to be 2 million though, so interesting. So this is the ownership tab now. So we've got Palmer at the top on 71, Salah on 59.9, so all but 60, Haaland down to 55, Saka 47, Smith Rowe 46, then there's a few in the 30s and the 20s. So have a look here at the chart, and this is by ownership coming down in the sort of the line. Then you've got points going in the bar charts, as it were. So Palmer, highest owned now, and then you've got Salah. He is points above the line. Then everybody else down to Henderson has got points below the line. But interesting to see that get down to say Bruno Fernandes here at 18%. He's got points way above the line. And you see quite a few of these underneath: Murillo, Watkins, João Gomez, Van Dijk, Porro. Everybody's above the line there. So lower down you get in the ownership. And to be fair, you're only talking, there's only 5 people that are in more than just over a third of sides now. So we've got Palmer, Salah, Haaland, Saka and Smith Rowe. Then the next best is a Romero at 37. I imagine he'll come down a little bit now. And then Buemo, I'm fairly sure that he might come down again after Brentford play Leicester on Saturday, so interesting. Oh, thanks, David. So Lumley is 2.2. Okay, so if he plays well and keeps his place, Ramsdale's out with a broken finger, I think. So probably, I'm no medic, but I imagine he's going to be out till probably Christmas time. So let's have a quick look at the calendar. So these are the fixtures we're now looking at up until just after New Year. So Monday the 6th of Jan is fixture day 53. And then we go for a week's break for the FA Cup. So this week we start with single game day, Brighton against Southampton. Then, as discussed on last week's Friday show, we have single game days on Monday the 9th. So Monday week is Wolves v West Ham. West Ham v Wolves. And then the following Monday, it's Bournemouth v West Ham. And then in New Year, we've got two more single game days. It's Brentford v Arsenal and Wolves v Nottingham Forest. So have a quick look at the points. And I filter this now from the second international break. So this starts from game week 8. So Salah at the top, 54 points in those, 5 game weeks. Cunha in second, Bruno Fernandes in third, Isak in fourth. So those that went for Isak on Monday can consider themselves fairly unlucky. He's been playing well, just didn't perform on the night. Newcastle were quite poor, I thought. Gvardiol, he's fifth place in those 5 game weeks, 35 points. But City have been quite disappointing. We've got a question on that. João Gomez for Wolves. He's what's he got? Started every game, 2 goals and an assist, I think. Wolves have been on the improve since their fixtures changed, so it's going okay. And you can see the rest of those on the list there. So these are the points. So Salah well clear, then Cunha and Fernandes, and then quite a clutch there between 36 and 28. These are by 90 minutes. So the outlier at the top, 14.57 points per 90, is James Maddison. When he's been on the field, he's been doing very, very well. Just can't get on it often enough. Tottenham very attacking, and they've got quite a front 5 that they can try and get them all on the pitch. So you've got Maddison and Kulusevski, then you've got Johnson, Son and Solanke, and they've even got the likes of Werner and Richarlison when he's fit to come off the bench. So yeah, going all right there, Tottenham in attack. And these are by ownership, so you can see those that are highly owned. You've only really got Salah and Haaland that are scoring all of the points. A few there in between. You've got Isak there at 31%, Henderson 36%, and then Mbeumo 34%. One to note there from previously is Palmer has not got that many points since game week 5. It's not even listed in the top 25 players. I wonder if I can actually see him here. Might be too far down that we can't. Let's have a quick look and see. So he's got 19 points in the last 5 games, so that's probably why he's not listed so highly. Okay. So the points per million. So quite a few doing well on that metric, as you would expect. Cunha's cheap. Gomez fairly cheap. Young for Everton, still going well. He's the highest there at 12.8 points per million. Murillo, another old favourite there, 12.61. And these are points per million per 90. So might be the odd one there, doesn't play very much. But I was looking for Maddison. Here he is, 2.8. And we look at the tier points. So top over the last 5 game weeks is Verbruggen. So he's got 4 triple-digit bonus points for saves, and then 1 2-pointer. And as suggested, Hall there, Lewis Hall from Newcastle, he is joint second for combined tier points in the last 5 games. Tackles and passes by the looks of it. Mainly 10, eight tackles and 5 pass points. Mazraoui for Manchester United. Be interested to see how he goes. Casemiro there as well. Kovacic we knew did well, but he's obviously injured now. And then my keeper Muric is the sixth on the list there with 12 points as well. So let's have a look at the questions we had in. So thank you very much for David, who's got a couple of Brighton questions. So any concerns over João Pedro playing 90 minutes? Hasn't played 90 since the 31st of August. Well, I think he's only started 4 games all season. I don't think he'll play 90 any week, to be honest, but I think he'll start in most. De Zerbi's quotes were that he seems to be the star man for Brighton, their star player, key player. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was words along those lines. And for this week, they play Friday and then Thursday, so I think he's certain to play. Then they play Sunday, so there might be a bit of rotation over Christmas. I mean, the clubs now have a thing in place where there's normally a 3-day gap in between games. I think they have to have at least 60 hours in between games. So, and there's only 3 Christmas fixtures. There's not 4 this year, so I think we should be okay. I don't think he'll play 90 in any of them, David, to be honest, but I think he'll start most of them. He might get a bench in, but then he'll probably come off the bench anyway. So, yes, concerns, but not enough to threaten his place in my side. And then David also says, on similar lines, will Van Heck suffice to cover tonight's captaincy and Brighton's upcoming fixtures? Well, I think Van Heck is an excellent pick in this game. He's 2.8 million. He gets passing nearly every week. Brighton have improved in defence, as you can see there by Bruggen being near the top of the points charts. So if they do manage to keep some clean sheets, Van Heck is almost likely to get 9 or 10 every game. We know previously he's managed to get assists and goals. So yeah, I think he will suffice on the captaincy. And the way the captaincy works in Cloud now, you'll get the double points whatever he gets. The only reason that I think I'm bringing João in as well is because I think he's worth it on his own at that price. Not necessarily because I have the Van Heck or I don't have Van Heck. I just think he's a good pick at the price, and if he scores points on a similar basis that he's been getting so far, then he'll go well. And then we have questions from David. He says, thanks Ian, a few questions from me. Question 1, is it now time to come off Brentford given the upcoming fixtures? Well, spoiler alert, I think I'm going to be losing Mbeumo tomorrow after he plays Leicester. I think he'll be gone on Sunday for somebody else. But we can have a look at their fixtures. And we see here Brentford. So as I said, they play Leicester. Then they go away to Aston Villa, home to Newcastle, away to Chelsea, home to Nottingham Forest, which is okay, but Forest a miserly defence. Then away to Brighton, at home to Arsenal before they visit Southampton on Saturday, January the 4th. So I think for Brentford, yes, it's the time to come off. The one that I might not would be Flecken. If you've had him, you've been unlucky with the clean sheets and you've got his save points. I imagine that in these fixtures to come, he will still get save points. So David's second question, is it worth jumping on Brighton or Wolves for the nice upcoming fixtures? Yes, I would go for Pedro or for Cunha. My preference, because I've missed out on Cunha so far, is for Pedro. And I have coverage for the Wolves single game day against West Ham. If I need coverage for Wolves when they play Nottingham Forest in New Year, that'll be a Monday game as well, so I can then have a look and see where I want to go for that. So yes, I think it's worth jumping on. One player, you could either go for one for each, depends on who you've got. No reason why you couldn't. Just think Wolves play on Saturday, so you can't get there from Brentford this week, and you can't get there in midweek either because they play on the same day as well. You could get there from Brentford on the single game day next week. So you would have Brentford against Leicester, Villa and Newcastle, and then you could jump to Wolves away to West Ham. Then they host Ipswich the next week and then visit Leicester after that. So yeah, maybe that's a way to look at it. And his question 3 and question 4 are combined. Who is the best goalkeeper to have between now and the new year? And why is the answer to question 3 Fraser Forster? Well, the reason why the answer might be Fraser Forster is because he's a cheap asset and he's going to be playing for Tottenham and he's going to be playing for quite a few weeks. And we can see there on the screen that Tottenham have got Fulham and then Bournemouth, Chelsea, Southampton. They play Liverpool just before Christmas. Then they've got Forest, Wolves and Newcastle. So it could be that the Tottenham keeper isn't a bad shout at all. And he's definitely under 3 million. We might be able to have a quick look on here and see if we can find a price for Forster as well. I assume he's listed somewhere. Here he is, Forster 2.8. So he's only the same price as Henderson, to be fair. But yeah, if you want to go for Tottenham keeper, there's me not going to put you off at all. And we also have questions from FPL Spartans, thanks John, and from Dream Team Gaffer. Yes, we are looking at this stuff in the background. I will get back to you with some update as and when we can. That's as much as I can say on that. But thanks for your input, gents. Much appreciated. So let's have a look at my team plan. This is where we stand from last week. So as you can see, we brought in Van Dijk for McNeil on Sunday, Bowen for Haaland on Monday. And we can see there Pedro is the plan for Dibbling tonight. And I will be doing that shortly. Then looking a little further ahead, I'm going to move Mbuemo to Jackson on Sunday, as detailed with the fixtures. And Jackson, he's only 4.0 in this game, and they have an excellent run. As we went through last week, they play Villa, Southampton, Tottenham, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich and Crystal Palace, all before the new year. And if I remember right, their run goes further on into the new year as well. So that is my plan. And as you can see, I'll be down to 24 transfers and I will have 2 million in the bank. And as we discussed last week, that plan was loosely to move Robinson to Gvardiol. But with City's, what should we say, poor form, and just had a question off Tim as well. Thanks, Tim. So is it time to move off City? All of City. So that is something I was planning on bringing in Gvardiol. That might not happen now. I might look elsewhere. I might keep Robinson. If I'm going to move, it could be that I go back for Arsenal because their fixtures are very nice as well. So I'm not going to do it this week for West Ham away. They have Manchester United at home, then Fulham, then Everton, then Crystal Palace, then Ipswich, Brentford and Brighton. So it could be that I use that money and go back for an Arsenal defender. But I'm also in the fortunate position that I've currently got 4 defenders. So it might be that I use it somewhere else and go in attack. Or at least in midfield. So that's where we stand. I'm going to bring in Pedro this week and Jackson on Sunday. So let's have a look before we leave at some predictions for this week. So double game week. So starting off tonight, have Brighton against Southampton. I think Brighton will be too good for Southampton. But if Southampton play like they did against Liverpool, they could score. The lineup doesn't look great, but it's the same type of players as they had in the Liverpool game. But I'm going to go for Brighton to win, and I think it will be 2-0. Then tomorrow, no early kickoff. TNT have passed this week. They obviously didn't want a second pick game, and there was nothing that took their fancy for a fifth. So we have Brentford v Leicester with Van Nistelrooy in charge. I wonder how he's going to cope with being in a rugby town compared to the old Dutch football where everything revolves around the old Ajax way. Even at Manchester United, it's definitely football in Manchester rather than rugby. So we shall see. I think Brentford will have too much for Leicester, but I think Leicester might score. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Brentford. Palace against Newcastle was also 3 o'clock. Lot to like for the way Palace played against Villa last week. A lot to dislike for how Newcastle played against West Ham on Monday. Maybe things will come back to the mean and it'll be a draw. I'll try a 1-1. I think Isak might repay faith for owners tomorrow that he didn't show on Monday. Nottingham Forest against Ipswich. I think Forest have, to use horse racing parlance, I think they've been laid out for this. They certainly rested everybody they could against Arsenal. I think they played for a 0-0 and got on the beating of a 3-0 instead. But I think they'll be too good for Ipswich. I'm going to go for a 2-0. 2-0 for Forest. And those that are still with Chris Wood, I think he'll probably score again. Wolves against Bournemouth, I think this might be quite entertaining. Both teams probably like to score, but Semenyo is suspended for Bournemouth. So I think Wolves, on the back of a convincing 4-1 win at Fulham last week, might well get the better of this. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Wolves. Cunha, for those that have him, might get another outside-the-box goal again. West Ham against Arsenal is the tea-time kickoff. West Ham improved, but Arsenal, they were very good against Forest and extremely good against Sporting Lisbon in midweek. I think they'll probably have too much for West Ham. West Ham score, Arsenal to win. I'm going to go for 2-1 away win. Then on Sunday, Chelsea against Villa. I think Chelsea will be too good for Villa. Villa drew against Juve on Wednesday with their pretty much full-strength side in the Champions League. Chelsea, a much-changed side, managed to win yet again in the Conference League. If they don't win that Conference League, I'll be surprised. They look far superior to anybody else. I know it's only the group stages so far, but does anybody think they're going to lose? I'll be surprised. I think they'll win this. I'm going to go for 2-1. Manchester United, another home match for Amorim. Everton, they don't like doing very much, do they? I'll go for United to win, and I'll go for 2-0. Tottenham against Fulham. Tottenham played a fairly strong side against Roma in the Europa League on Thursday. I think they'll go strong again. Obviously, it's a London derby. Fulham to score, but Tottenham to win. I'm going to go 3-1. Then a real big Super Sunday this week. Liverpool against Manchester City. Liverpool currently 8 points clear of City. Win, obviously, they go 11. A City win, bring it back to 5. I think this will be quite cagey. It wouldn't surprise me if it's 0-0 on an hour, that both of them accept it's going to be 0-0 and that's the way it ends up. But for the sake of a prediction, I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Salah to score and Haaland as well. And then we've got sort of double game week fixtures next week. I think on Amazon Prime, and as per, they've been a bit shafted by the Sky and BT, or TNT as it is now. So 2 matches on Tuesday. Ipswich v Palace. Ipswich, is this their first night game since the start of the season? certainly in the league, I think. I don't think they've had a night game yet. Be interesting to see what the crowd's like at Ipswich for night game. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll go for a 1-0 win. Leicester against West Ham, so this will be another... I think this will be quite entertaining, actually. It'll be Van Nistelrooy's first home game. Leicester. Yeah, the crowd should be up for that. I'll go for a 2-2 draw. Hopefully Bowen will be on the end of something because he'll almost certainly be my captain. Although I do have Muric, so if Ipswich manage to keep a clean sheet, then that could be a 10-pointer. Wednesday, Everton against Wolves. Previously, I'd have had this down as a dour 1-0 win for Everton. But Wolves have improved, Everton haven't. I might go for a 2-1 away win. Manchester City against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest will be going for a 0-0 again there. I don't think they'll get it. I think this might be a game that City get back on their tracks. I'll go for a 3-0 win. Newcastle against Liverpool. Tricky match for Liverpool this. Although Newcastle will need to improve from what they showed on Monday night. I think Liverpool... I mean, you can't say they won't win. They're playing that well at the minute. I'll go for a 2-1 win at St James's. Southampton against Chelsea. I think Chelsea will have too much unless they play their midweek side. Even then I think they'll have too much for Southampton. But if they play a full strength Premier League side, I think they could give them a bit of a doing. I'll hedge my bets and I'll go for 2-0. 2-0 for Chelsea. Then the big game on Wednesday is Arsenal against Manchester United. I think Arsenal too strong at home for United. Maybe United will get a goal. I'll go for a 2-1. Whoever doesn't start, come off the bench and get the winner. So either Trossard or Martinelli. And then Villa against Brentford, also at 8:15. Strange, really. I don't know why they want 2 games on at that time. They normally have the big game set on its own. Strange scheduling there from Amazon. Brentford have been quite poor away, so I think Villa will win at home. I'm going to go for 2-1. Then on Thursday, 2 games. Fulham against Brighton should be quite entertaining. Both teams to score here, I think. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. And then Bournemouth against Tottenham. So Semenyo will be back for Bournemouth, so I think he'll add a bit of a pep to their attack. But I think Tottenham, those that don't play on Sunday will probably come back and do well on Thursday. I'll go for Tottenham to win 2-1. So, thanks very much, everybody. There's your preview for Game Week 13 in Cloud. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you've liked the video, please give it a like. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. Thanks everybody in the chat. And those that are going to watch or listen on repeat, leave a review there. If you want to use the transfer planners that have been showcased there, you can find that on Patreon, patreon.com, Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. In the meantime, enjoy the game tonight. I'm off now to make some transfers. Enjoy the football over the weekend and next week as well. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now. Ta-da. Yeah.